Good evening, and this is Will with SRT Amplification, and welcome to another installment of Music News Monday. Today we're going to talk about, or at least look at, a few things that I ran across in the last few weeks. I know I haven't done a Music News Monday since right before Christmas, but trying to get back into it. So let's just jump into this. Run across this article here on NPR, and for those of you who are Toto fans, you probably know this, but if you're not, they have recently released, or Weezer, the band Weezer, which is kind of I would say, a new alternative group, but they've been around now for about 20 years, I guess. They have recorded a cover of Toto's Africa. And because of that, there's been kind of a resurgence on it. So let's look at this article real quick and see what it says here. Basically, there's a guy by the name of Max Siedentop. He's a Namibian German artist, and he's set up an MP3 player with 6 speakers out in the middle of the Namibian desert, and he's got Toto's Africa playing on it 24/7 on a continuous loop. So, and he's got this, I guess, a map you can go and get, and it'll take you to where this thing is. It's just like out in the middle of the desert, just playing Toto's Africa. So I'll leave a link to this article here, and you can read it for yourself. But I just thought that was kind of neat. It's really just a novelty thing, I guess. But hey, to each his own, I guess. The next thing we got to look at is a item that I came across on Premier Guitar. And basically what it is a German company called Patchworks, or Rockboard, I guess, have made this Patchworks system that you can put together your own little patch cables of whatever length you want in whatever configuration you want, whether you want it to be a straight connector or a elbow connector, an L connector. Basically, they give you a piece of wire, a piece of 3-meter cable, and they give you 5 straight pieces and 5. Well, you can get different kits. This is just the kit that I've got up here. They're pretty expensive. I think this kit right here runs about $80 US, and it's the gold one. They also make a chrome one as well, and it's a little less. I think the chrome one is like $60. But anyway, it's just, it comes with this little tool. It's all completely solderless, and you stick it on there, and you tighten it down, and you can make any length of little patch cable that you want right there on the fly. So for the expense of it, it's not something that you probably want to buy to make your patch cables for your pedal board. You probably want to just buy traditional standard patch cables for that kind of stuff. Where I can see that this is beneficial is when you're gigging and you have to patch into something that's not a length that you normally have a cable for, or something like that, or you have to do a quick reconfigure of your pedal board for some reason, have to add something in there or whatever, and a traditional little patch cable would not suit the bill. If you had a kit like this in your gig bag or your amplifier case or whatever, you could just quickly, on the fly, make a little patch cable of whatever length you wanted. I guess up to 3 meters, obviously. But I just found that interesting. I'll leave a link to this in the description, and if you have any comments about it, if you've used it, let me know. If you've heard of people using it, let me know. All I've got to go by is this article here, so I'm sure there's some YouTube videos on it, but I haven't searched for them. But it seems pretty neat for what it is, I guess. Brings me to my last and most, I don't know, controversial, I guess, of the things that I ran across in the last couple of weeks, and that is this. There is a company called Ruokangas. I've heard of this company before. They're a Finnish guitar company. They make very small production runs of guitars and everything. I've actually heard the brand before, and they have got a new guitar out called the Valvebucker, and it actually houses. I'm not going to run this video, but you can watch the video. But it actually houses a tubes, two preamp tubes in the body of this guitar here, and one on either side of the pickup here in the middle. And you'll have to watch the video for yourself. It's a pretty interesting video, but that's not really the story I wanted to discuss. The story I wanted to discuss was I actually went to the YouTube channel that this is on, and let me pull it up here. And if you can read this, I can read my comments here if you zoom in, I guess, on this video. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Alright, let's see what this is. Yeah, you can probably read it now. Let me scroll up. So my original question on this channel was, and if you watch the video, you'll see that he says that you plug this thing into a little box that they have that gives you 12 volts AC, and I assumed that 12 volts AC was for the filaments, for the preamp tubes that they have installed in this thing. But I asked him, I said, so you have the 12 volts AC for the filaments, and I asked him a question, is it directly heated or cathode filament? And the only reason I asked that is because I was kind of wanting to get an idea of what types of tubes he was using, and therefore kind of what a current draw would be on those tubes. And then I asked what is being used for the B+ plate voltage. And he replied back and he says, yes, we need 12 volts for the heaters. Naturally, anode voltages would need to be a little higher. So I'm like, yeah, naturally. So he didn't answer my question about what is being used for the B+ plate voltage. So I prodded him a little more and I said, so how is that voltage produced? Is this a gimmick? I mean, without some serious rectified plate voltages, there is no way that these tubes can do anything for the guitar signal. Without that, you essentially have two really cool looking light bulbs. He says, thanks. We started the research and development for this product from an empty table, and we have no intention to disclose novel technical details of it. Okay. Others are free to find their own solutions, how to design a new type of tube amp and how to power it up. Not a gimmick, but no technical magic either, just a lot of hard work. So, he shows in the video the actual power supply that he's using to power this box up. It is a T-Rex Classic, I believe, power supply. And the specifications on the T-Rex Classic power supply for the 12 volt AC output, which is used to power this box, is 500 milliamps. So with these two tubes alone, the filament windings at 12 volts, assuming that they're along the lines of a 12AX7, 12AT7, that type of tube, which is kind of what they look like in the video, that would be a total of 300 milliamps at 12 volts each, 150 milliamps each, 300 milliamps total draw just for the heaters. Now the plates, you're not going to have very much current draw between the cathode and the plates on these tubes. You're talking less than 100 milliamps for both of them. Really less than that, probably around 50 milliamps for both of them. The problem I'm finding is how are they getting the 12 volts up to a voltage that will actually get amplification out of these tubes. And for that, I mean, they could have so many different things: voltage, mini voltage doublers. There's some voltage. Doubling solid state devices. There's some discrete component stuff you could use with capacitors and resistors and diodes. But to get 12 volts up to even to get 12 volts up to 120 volts, 10 times, you would have the rectification and you'd have to rectify it first, but the energy consumed in that circuitry alone would be a lot, because you're starting off with little voltage and you're having to build that voltage. So whatever you use to do that is going to be consumption of some sort. You're going to be consuming power, drawing current. So anyway, without knowing exactly how they're doing it, it's hard for me to speculate exactly how much current they're drawing. I actually like the way it sounds. I can't say for sure that the tubes or what's behind the way it sounds, but it does look cool. And without actually having one and tearing into it and reverse engineering it and seeing what exactly they did, I can only speculate. But if you know how this is done, please let me know. I'm sure a lot of other people would like to know too that have run across this article. Maybe they didn't even give much thought about it. They just said, "Oh, cool, they're putting tubes in guitars now." But if you know how this is done, let me know. If you have an idea of maybe how they're doing it, keeping in mind that they've only got 200 milliamps to work with here, because they are lighting up the tubes. You can see the tubes light up. The heaters are actually drawing current. So I know that they're already using 300 milliamps of that 500 milliamp supply that they have. Knowing the type of power supply that he was using, they don't have much to spare. They're using over half of their power supply. So let me know, and maybe somebody's already bought one of these things. Who knows? And they've already reverse engineered it. I'm sure if I wait a few weeks or months, somebody's going to have how this thing actually works on the internet. But I don't know why they're keeping it such closely guarded. I mean, they're going to sell one of these things, and somebody's going to know how they did it when they open the thing up. But anyway, I understand they're not going to put it out there just for somebody to rip off, So, but it's pretty neat, I guess. If you watch this video, you'll see the whole story behind it. I guess there were some questions that had been asked about whether it builds up heat or what are the different configurations and everything that it has and all that stuff. But it's a pretty good video. Watch it, and if you like what you see on this, go ahead and buy one and and then tear it apart and let me know. I don't think I'm gonna buy one just to tear it apart to see how it works, because to me it just sounded like any other guitar. It really didn't even sound like an active pickup system at all. So yeah, it just looked cool to me anyway. Okay, for today's pick of the week, I have with me Rush's, a Farewell to King, Rush Farewell to King. Farewell to Kings, and this is the new reissue. Sorry about that light. This is the new reissue deluxe 4-disc vinyl set. So it is chock full of all kinds of books and fold out gatefolds and all kinds of stuff. Just pictures of the band. There's a whole live in concert from the 70s disc in here, and it's got the complete Farewell to Kings remastered. And what's cool about this is the way they did it. They actually put the so they put the whole album on, remastered the whole album. Then they gave you another album with basically a concert from 1978, and then they gave I guess the other. Oh, it's 4 discs. I'm sorry. I was wondering how that happened. So yeah, I guess the other 3 discs are the live concert from 1978, which include many of the songs. This is probably one of my favorite Rush albums. It's got Closer to the Heart on it, Cinderella Man, A Farewell to Kings, Xanadu, Mad Girl, Syndicus X1. It's a very good album, but you get, the concert, which had songs, up until that time. So you have, Working Man, Fly by Night, Close to the Heart, of course. So yeah, it is very early. This is, early Rush. They only had by this time they only had 4 albums. They had the Rush self-titled album. They had Fly by Night. They had man, I'm drawing a blank now. They had Fly by Night, Farewell to Kings, and 2112, and there was one more. Oh, me. Anyway, yeah. So, very cool. It's 180 gram vinyl. So I think it just came out last year. They re-released it last year. Yeah, it must have been last year because it was the 30th anniversary. So yeah, it was the 30th anniversary when they re-released this thing. So 4 whole discs, and worth the money, definitely. It's all right. That concludes this week's Music News Monday, and if you enjoyed what you saw here today and want to see more, please subscribe and like this video. And until next week, thanks a lot.